Good afternoon and welcome to the thorough newspaper analysis for 6th June 2022. For the first article today, we have people, not quotes, shape norms and has been taken from the Hindu editorial which has been authored by Arun Naira. For the second and third segment of today, we have the news update and the legal news, which you know are a part of LawSikho's initiative to keep its students and readers updated with the current affairs that is happening in and around of India. Now, this preparation will help you during your prelims examination when you sit for your judiciary. It will be helpful when you are sitting for other competitive exams like IBPS or SEBI. So, for the first article today that talks about people, not quotes, shape norms. It's about this claim that has been made by the BJP party that disputes regarding mosques and temples shall be settled by courts based on the constitution of the country. So on this note, a few months ago, an organization called the Pew Research Center had conducted their own research in US, where it showed that 2/3 of the citizens in democratic countries like US do not trust elected institutions and courts to listen to them or to rule in their favor or to basically heed to what they want. So this is problematic because we need to remember these are elected institutions that they themselves have casted the vote for. So what happens is the India and the US now, especially now, need to lead the spread of democracy, especially after the oaths of both the countries in the recent Quad summit and also what has been happening in light of the Chinese and the Russian aggression on the international front. Now, the leaked draft regarding the women's abortion rights in US that had created uproar and is still a cause of concern will cause major uproar in human rights. Further, reliance alone cannot be placed on the constitution. Now, what the BJP leaders had stated is that when it comes to quarrels based on whether the land is a land for a mosque or a land for a temple, you cannot place reliance alone on constitution, because if we are to believe that whatever the constitution of a country has to say is ultimate and the same cannot be changed, we also need to remember that equal rights was not given to citizens back in 1787 when the US Constitution came to force. Women, colored individuals, and LGBTQIA community had to struggle in order to have their rights recognized. The LGBTQIA community had their rights recognized only recently in this century, and even then they are not completely accepted. They still have their roadblocks. Conceptions like freedom, liberty, human rights, these are always considered to be works in progress. You cannot go forward and assign them definite characteristics. Hence, when it comes to democracies like US or India, which is one of them is the oldest democracy, another of them is the largest democracy. Countries like these require a robust process to take into consideration the changing judicial atmosphere regarding the doctrines enshrined in their respective constitutions. Further, institutions are the means with which societies realize their aspirations. This is the reason why they elect them. Hence, the elected representatives need to ensure that the same is maintained. For the news updates today, number one, we have Rafael Nadal wins the French Open. Rafael Nadal pulled away to beat Casper Ruud 6-3, 6-3, 6-0 in the French Open final for the 14th championship at Roland Garros and 22nd Grand Slam title overall, adding to 2 days two records that he already owned. Nadal's victory came 2 days after his 36th birthday and made him the oldest title winner in the history of the clay court tournament. For the second article, we have Majhi Vasundhara Abhiyan 2.0 implemented in local bodies of Maharashtra. As part of this, to create a prosperous environment, Majhi Vasundhara My Earth Abhiyan 2.0 is being implemented in the local bodies of the state. Local organizations, divisional and district level officials who have done stupendous work were honored on the occasion of World Environment Day by the Chief Minister of the state. For the third, we have Life Movement launched on World Environment Day. Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi launched a global initiative, Lifestyle for the Environment, Life Movement, via video conference. The launch will initiate live global call for papers, inviting ideas and suggestions from academics, universities, and research institutions, etc., to influence and persuade individuals, communities, and organizations across the world to adopt an environment-conscious lifestyle. For number fourth article today, we have the Khelo India Youth Games begin in Haryana. Haryana is now fully geared up to host the fourth edition of the Khelo India Youth Games 2021. And the Games was formally inaugurated by the Union Home Minister Amit Shah, who was also the chief guest at the opening ceremony of this grand sports festival. For the fifth article today, we have World's Fishing Cat Census done in Chilika. The Chilika Lake, Asia's largest brackish water lagoon, has 176 fishing cats, according to a census conducted by the Chilika Development Authority in collaboration with the Fishing Cat Project. This is the world's first population estimation of the fishing cat, which has been conducted outside the protected area network. Next, we have India hits 10% ethanol blending target ahead of time. India has achieved the target of blending 10% ethanol in petrol 5 months ahead of schedule, resulting in less carbon emissions, more savings for the country, and better income for farmers. Prime Minister Narendra Modi said on World Environment Day and mentioned that in 2014, only 1.5% ethanol was being blended into petrol in India. For legal news updates today, we have public trust doctrine part of law of land and the role of the state as trustee of natural resources is even more relevant today. And the Supreme Court has held this in the case of Inri T.N. Godavarman Thirumalpad versus the Union of India. For this next one, we have no concept of bigamy in Hindu religion. And based on this, the second wife cannot be said that she is entitled to family pension when the first wife is still present. And this has been held by the Guwahati High Court in the case of Pratima Deka versus the state of Assam and 5 others. Thirdly and lastly, we have the accused is entitled to statutory bail under section 167 subsection 2 of CrPC if charge sheet is not final due to incomplete investigation under section 173 subsection 2 of CrPC, and the same is held by the Telangana High Court. So the HC ruled that the state under PMLA 2002 accused is entitled to statutory bail under section 167 2 CrPC if the charge sheet is not submitted in terms of section 173 2 of CrPC without complete investigation. And the same has been held in the case of C. Parthasarthy versus the Director of Enforcement. So this was all for today. For free study materials and TNA PDF slides, please join our Telegram channel, the link of which you can find in the description below, or you can always go forward and scan the QR code given on the screen here as a Telegram QR code @Law Test Prep. You can also join us on our Instagram channels, LawSikho.Judiciary, LawSikho CLAT Prep, and UGCnet_LawSikho. For any further information, please feel free to visit www.lawsikho.com. Thank you.